Hey everybody, I'm here, the Super SUCKLORD, Chinatown, New York City, closing out the year 2017 here on Patreon. It's been a challenging one, you know that for sure, but you've been here with me the whole time and I couldn't have done it without your generous support. So I'm here right now, working on your prizes and giveaways, your annual gifts for supporting the SUCKLORD on Patreon. These will be going out in early January. And in the meantime, enjoy the recap and I'll see you in 2018.
c'est cette question qui est celle des mythes contemporains. Les mythes contemporains, dans un sens assez noble, finalement, ou assez ancien, on a l'impression que les mythes font partie de la jeunesse de l'humanité.
Thank you. I apologize for my American English, but that's the only means of communication that I have available to me, so hopefully I'm able to make myself understood. I don't know what the fuck you guys have been talking about, but I did hear my name mentioned a few times, so I hope you're saying good things about me. What's the question?
The question is now maybe presenting a little bit about your work to the audience, and then we will see your artworks in the exhibition. But just from how long you're working on Star Wars, why Star Wars, and what are you doing in your own practice?
Yes. Okay, well, I'm from New York City, and I'm some sort of artist, usually working within toys and action figures as my medium. Those were the things that I was familiar with when I grew up, and I grew up in the Star Wars generation. I was born in 1969, and I saw Star Wars in the movie theater in 1977 when I was 8 years old, and got caught up in the cultural phenomenon of it, and a big part of that experience was the toys, almost more so or equal to the film itself. And naturally, it just appeals to all the basic human drives that seek mythology, although you don't know this shit when you're a kid, but it was the context of it, the music, the sounds, the tactile experience of it that made me attracted to Star Wars. And then as an adult, as I endeavored to become an artist because I had no other choice in life because I was essentially unemployable, and the only thing I was able to do was really just jerk off to Star Wars, so I managed to find a way to make money doing that by borrowing images and sounds and ideas from Star Wars and then putting them into context that appealed to me. My first excursion into stealing Star Wars was by mixing it with hip-hop culture. I'm from New York City, and I just thought it was an interesting way to mash up Star Wars and put it in a context that hadn't been visited before. And I put out this little record called Star Wars Breakbeats, which was basically samples from Star Wars and mixed with loops, beats, scratching, stuff like that, and found it to be a deep well of resources when it came to expressing ideas. And then I started taking that application and putting it towards some of my artwork, which was, like I said, based in toys and action figures. And then it was what was convenient about that is because everybody knows what Star Wars is, so it's very easy to just attach your own name to it and then claim some sort of credibility and some sort of, you get some sort of built-in recognition. It also has a commonality to it. Everybody understands the symbols and the imagery of Star Wars, and once you start taking those things that are familiar to everybody and putting them in unusual places or familiar places or places that it hasn't gone, hopefully you create some sort of juxtaposition that people find interesting and compelling and also easy to understand. It's, even the course, like you don't even have to speak the same language as someone else, but be able to, cover an ad in graffiti and people say, oh, I get what that's about. And it's just sort of about, I think, like I say, doing something like that, making a gay stormtrooper, which is something else I've done, or a graffiti ad or a DJ stormtrooper. You're taking things that people symbols that people understand, and you're able to convey something and sort of bring down the mythology and sort of put it into the everyday experience. And, hopefully if you're any sort of imaginative person, you're trying to create a fantasy world out of your own boring life. And using Star Wars as a tool is a way to do that. And then you can take it further and then sort of change the volume of the Star Wars in your work to have it be just either very much in your face, here's a fucking Star Wars ripoff, or here it is all mixed in and sort of subtle and all the actual direct references have been removed and covered with a veneer of originality, and then hopefully you go forward and create something new out of it. You can't just steal shit, you gotta make it original. So that's what I do.
Ça, c'est un subwoofer que Abravanel a commandé parce que le sub de la salle musique apparemment était foutu.
Who's this guy on the money here?
A Swiss guy.
I know he's a Swiss guy, but who? Anybody
I don't know.
famous?
Give me one. Maybe it's with.
You don't
It's
even know
Giacometti.
you don't even know.
You know
yes,
the
I know
sculptor.
Giacometti. You don't.
He made those, and
That's
he's
funny.
here.
You guys actually have artists on your money.
Yeah.
You just have a bunch of presidents.
Je t'ai déjà remercié officiellement en public. Non mais voilà, c'est aussi à toute l'équipe. Mais il faut aussi ta confiance. Avec soi-même et... Si on peut avoir un peu de... Très bien. Eh, vas-y, celle-là. Elle vient là, toi. Mais non,
It's fucking horse meat. Can't get this in America.
Excusez-moi, messieurs, dames.
On vous prie de fermer vos gueules. Je traduis. Excusez-moi, je ne fais que citer. Les shut the fuck up.
Yo, so here we are up in the house of Elsewhere, in the middle of fucking nowhere in fucking Switzerland, because that's how the SUCKLORD fucking rolls. And I'm here with some very, very important individuals. Do a little interview and background about how the fuck I wound up here and what this is all about. This guy name is Mach. What's your last name?
Atala.
Atala. And you're the director of this fine museum.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, what do you call this museum?
Maison d'ailleurs.
And what does that mean?
House of Elsewhere.
And what is it? What are we talking about when we're talking about Elsewhere?
About science fiction, utopia, dystopias, extraordinary journeys, all these kind of alternate universes, and this also the imagination from science and technologies. That's it.
That's very
But
good.
it's like,
and you're the director of this museum.
yeah, I try to do.
And we're here with Cedric. What's your last name? Cedric.
Cédric Delceau.
And he's a French fuck. And he's a Star Wars artist as well. You might have seen his work. I'm gonna throw some images up. He does all those hyper-realistic photos of battle droids and other Star Wars characters living in the dystopian Earth. And you're actually very famous and successful at this.
Yes, for the moment.
Yes, well, we're gonna get to you in a minute. But first, Mach. How
Try just to say Marc.
Mach.
Yeah, great.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to like push everything. It's Marc.
I'm the type of that's not
Yeah, I know that you push
That's
it.
the type I am. So give me a little bit for the audience, a little bit of the background of this place and how it came to be. What is this place?
And this is the museum, because it is a museum. Was created in 1976, and I mean, in the collection of the museum, we have like so many items related to science fiction.
It was created by a Holocaust survivor, right?
Yeah, exactly. A French Holocaust survivor that went to Switzerland for getting healed, met his wife, and decided to stay in Switzerland and to collect everything that dealt with futures.
And isn't the Jules Verne collection kind of like an underpinning of this?
Yes, but no, I mean the Jules Verne collection came to the museum in 2003.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
In the beginning we have like posters, books or novels from science fiction, pulp magazine. We have the complete collection of pulp magazine, American pulp magazine, and all the items related to science fiction just to compose a collection that explain us a little bit about pop culture in 19th and 20th century.
Do you think do you think that somebody who's trying to heal from the Holocaust, why do you think science fiction and utopianism would be attractive to somebody like that?
Yeah, this collector, his name was Pierre Versan, always said that to escape the trauma of the past, he decided to collect everything that deals with the future. Oh. And this is maybe the first idea at the core of the collection.
And how did you come to be involved with this project?
I've done my PhD on science fiction.
Really?
And I knew, of course, the former director of the museum. When he decided to leave, to go to other places, he asked me, I thought I was the only one, but we were 87, by the way.
87 people?
Yeah, that it will leave, and if I would like to try to have the position of director, I just like postulate, send my my CV, etc., and I get the job. I don't know why, but I get the job.
Did you grow up here, or?
No, I grew up in Lausanne.
Oh, okay.
Not far away.
Yeah, we were
but
there.
I think
We were
it's
the
maybe
other
more
day.
well known that Yverdon-les-Bains.
Yeah, I came half the world away to sit through a fucking screening of Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, I think it's a good time for you.
Actually, wasn't a bad film.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was.
if you're gonna,
Yes, but you saw it in Lausanne.
yeah, so that made it better. And so, what was the conception of this particular show, the Star Wars show, I Am Your Father? How did you come up with this idea, and what was the point or purpose of it, or what's your angle? Because there's been a lot of Star Wars shit all over the place. Like, what were you? How did you make something original?
Yeah, the museum always tried to explore a very important thematic that is related to pop culture. And some years ago, I saw the artworks of Cedric on my right in a magazine. And of course, I was interested to do an exhibition about Star Wars, but I was very interested to find a good angle, something that is not like usual angle for Star Wars. And when I saw what Cedric did, I also saw what you were exposed in the Halles Saint-Pierre in Paris. You have like those 5 or 6, I don't remember, figures. I thought that it could be interesting to invite artists from all around the world that could be able to use Star Wars as a language or as a material,
right.
Just trying to rearrange this language or this material to create something new. And this is the main core of, I think, of Je suis ton père, or I am your father exhibition. Then 13 artists all reinterpreting Star Wars thing to create something else, to create a new way to consider the earth or the world or society, etc.
I mean, I guess it's an interesting angle because is there other Star Wars stuff in the collection, or is this the beginning of the Star Wars collection for this?
We already have like toys and books and blasters.
But the thing is, you could have just done that. You could have just put normal Star Wars stuff in there. You could have maybe movie props or toys or magazines and posters, and you have a little of that, but it was sort of a different take to do.
Yeah, because we like the idea always to work on an important topic, but just try to find another way to approach them. Try to like. I mean, we receive a lot of visitors every day. Then the idea is not to propose them what they are expecting to see in the museum, but to propose something else, like another journey. And the journey, like you have like I Am Your Father exhibition, and the journey is that you won't really see Star Wars like the original Star Wars, but you will see Star Wars everywhere.
I mean, I guess that's important because you see Star Wars all the time everywhere.
Exactly, and you see it everywhere, and you also don't see it everywhere. You have your work, the work of Cedric, the works of the 11 other artists, and they are all related to Star Wars, but it could be complicated to say what the exhibition is telling about Star Wars, except the fact that Star Wars is the language or myth that allows us and you guys, artists, to propose something new, something innovative.
That's a good angle. How's the response been so far? How are people receiving?
I think that for tonight, because we received some people in the museum, the response seems to be really interesting.
It's blowing up in the Bulgarian press.
And yeah, Bulgarian press. I mean, the newspaper, the medias seemed very interested by the exhibition and find it very original. The few people we had tonight was really interested by the exhibition and didn't really expect that the exhibition will be also so beautiful. And then tomorrow we have the opening. We will see what people will say,
we'll see what the culture says.
And then in the next few months we will be able to have like, okay, people like it, for why, for which reason, what do they like, what don't they like, what kind of ideas the exhibition gives to them, etc.
Does Lucasfilm have any sort of is part of this, or do they give a shit, or do they know, or? Did you ask Lucasfilm or tell them about this?
No, we informed Disney Switzerland that the exhibition will happen. I think they're not really interested in this kind of. I mean, maybe by themselves.
But
like
you didn't. Did you go to Lucasfilm directly and tell them about this?
I think it's almost impossible for a Swiss guy like me to contact or to reach Lucasfilm.
Really? Huh, that's odd. You don't think you'd have some connections to do that? Well, I don't know.
Sorry, but I should have asked you that, I guess.
When I go back to America, I'll call some people. We have a Star Wars show coming up in LA, so there might be some Lucas people there, and we'll figure it out. Cedric, what's up with your shit? What's up with your shit? You're a famous guy. I knew what your work was before I met you. What's the impetus?
You knew my work before?
Yeah, I'd seen it before. Yeah. People send it to me. Have you seen this shit? And I'm not like
really shit.
Well, everybody knows I'm a Star Wars fan, so I always get emails and text messages whenever there's some pop culture Star Wars thing. People send me, and most of the time it's stupid or I've seen it already. But I have people have emailed me your work, and I was like, most of the time I hate everything, but I was like, oh, this is cool. This is it's a little different. It looks great and has a certain attitude to it that appealed to me, and it was original. What's the concept of your work?
Can I tell you something?
Yes, please.
That it's really nice. I'm really happy to meet you.
Yeah,
I didn't know your work because I don't know a lot of things about Star Wars. I have to confess that I wasn't a big Star Wars fan.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I know it hurts you a lot, but it's the truth. What I really like in your work is that you breathe Star Wars. You are Star Wars. You have an intimacy. Is it English?
Yeah, sure.
With Star Wars, which is really incredible. And it's not my purpose. It's not in that case that I use Star Wars. I use Star Wars, but it's not
about Star Wars.
It's not about Star Wars. In my work, it's about places. It's about strange places that I like, that I dislike. Places which are beauty and ugly in the same time. And for me, before I did a work called in the US Here to Stay. The book was in the US too, and in France it was Nous resterons sur terre. It was only empty places, but with traces of and humanity. And when I did this book, I always say to myself, we live in a full sci-fi world, which is absolutely crazy in all sense you can imagine. So that's why I decided to put Star Wars characters in these places. That was the idea. So it's to speak about these places. Then for me, of course, it could be only Star Wars because I was not a fan, but when I was young, the first one I saw was Le Retour du Jedi.
Return of the
Jedi. No wonder you're not a fan.
You know, like maybe you have less than 10 moments like that in your life when you remember everything. So I remember where I was, I remember the color of the seats, I remember the moment after. That was crazy for me because it was the first blockbuster I see, and so it was possible, all this universe, all these possibilities. That was crazy. After, during maybe 10 years, I didn't think about it. But then, when I realized we live in full sci-fi, of course, it could be only Star Wars because of this souvenir.
What do you mean a souvenir?
It's a French word, maybe it doesn't exist.
But I mean, I don't know how it means in this case.
Souvenir, it was in my mind, but I didn't really remember. I didn't remember really well, but it was there. So for me, science fiction, it is Star Wars.
But it's funny though, because when I look at your work, it's like you have these places, and they're sort of ordinary places, or broken places, or sort of sad or abandoned places, and you put the Star Wars characters in there, and it's weird because instead of elevating the place, it almost brings the characters down.
Absolutely.
You know,
I really like the idea. It's to give impression that the characters are like real.
Mm-hmm.
They are like human. They are normal, like Bernard.
But it's also they're not fighting or doing action.
No,
they're just sitting around, looking bored.
For me, it's really important. I didn't want any action because it's like it's parodic to do action thing like that.
Right.
So it's a normal life. So it's boring.
Yeah.
And I would like to do incredible, boring pictures.
That's, well, you've succeeded at that. Now, I mean, I did notice also in a lot of your images, it seems like the character that you use most is the battle droid, which is weird because it's not the most iconic Star Wars character.
Yeah.
It's not the most recognizable
Absolutely.
Star Wars character. Why is the battle droid such an important part of your images?
Yeah, it was very important for me to use, and it's much more easier for me to use such droids, the battle droid, than the stormtrooper, which are much more famous and important in the saga. Because these droids are a bit empty. You can put your own imagination. You can they can be as you think they are, and I can move them where I want, because it's not an important character. That's why I would like to go on with this type of character and work on his singularity.
This whole fucking thing is weird. This doesn't make any sense that there's a whole fucking goddamn museum dedicated to this shit, but somehow you make a living on a life off of it, and people like me and him benefit, and we get to be here, and we get to sit here and talk to fucking video cameras to fucking some asshole sitting at home, hopefully listening to every single word and having an enlightenment. So, thanks. You got anything else you want to add to this?
Thank you.
Thank you. I did good, right? Did I do that?
Yeah,
You were like
you were great.
incredible, without any preparation.
Man,
Impressed.
you're good.
Okay, then
You're good.
let's have a beer.
Yeah, let's go get fucked up. See you later.
Now watch it, ladies and gentlemen. As you guys are watching this warm-up, can I get everybody please to come up all the way to the orange cone?
Dollar Slice Bootlegs.
Yo, B12 vitamins.
You're telling me that this is a vape pen where I can smoke B12.
Yeah, man, vaporizing your B12, man. Get your vitamins, your daily B12.
I don't believe it. It's fucking stupid.
Tastes like bananas. What you think, man?
Holy shit, this is DMT!
I got a present for you. Uh-oh. This is the very first, the earliest example of my idea of putting a piece of art on a blister card. So here it is. This is the first piece of work that I ever made on a blister card. And I found it recently. It's terrible, but...
Look at that. What year is that?
94.
23 years. Check it out.